You may be seated. So good afternoon, family, friends, loved ones, especially our class of 2022, and this glorious occasion where we welcome them into the profession of medicine. This is a glorious day and day. This is an historic class for the College of Medicine. You all should know this. This is our first class that graduated our students at the Bowling Green campus. Yay! It's the most physicians who've ever graduated from the University of Kentucky College of Medicine. Yay! This class has the most women. And the most men, yeah. And the most Kentuckians. This is a wonderful day indeed, so thank you for being with us today. I first want to recognize some words from our acting provost, Dr. Robert DePaula. As you all know, Bob was the dean of the College of Medicine when these students were recruited, was the dean the first few years of medical school. He'll bring us some words on behalf of the university.
No, thank you, Dr. Griffith. And you just keep in mind, this is all about them, and I think it's key. Please give them another round of applause, if you would. I was already saying to Dr. Griffith that in the first year, the 1 year that he took the reins here as acting dean, he's already made a lot of changes, but this is an incredible change because we love having you up here on the stage. So congratulations to all of you, which is fantastic. I want to just say, in behalf of the University of Kentucky, I want to welcome you to really this historic occasion. It is with great pleasure to be here with you today to really celebrate this and commemorate a milestone that will undoubtedly impact the rest of their lives, your lives. Today, we not only, as Dr. Griffith just mentioned, recognize our graduates in Lexington and in Moorhead, but for the first time in the college's and the university's history, we are recognizing the graduates from the Bowling Green campus. So we're excited to do that today. Today, when I really, and I'm trying to speak to them, although they're behind me, they've reached, and you've reached, the culmination of one phase of the journey, the biggest phase, really. Today marks the day your dream finally comes true. Today marks the day that you will be called doctor. It will be And there's no doubt it will be through their pursuits and their journey that are going to change our future. I mean, you look at this as a troupe of just incredible physicians, our future physicians, and really the future of medicine. I've been proud, as Dr. Griffith mentioned, to be your dean throughout most of your time here, and then helping this past year as acting provost, and now will be provost. And I'll always be looking after the College of Medicine as well as the other colleges. But regarding your training here, I wanted to just say a few words. And I've said these before at other occasions. William Osler, considered by many to be the founder of modern medicine, stated that he who studies medicine without books sails an uncharted sea, but he who studies medicine without patience does not go to sea at all. So in regarding to the studying part, I'm going to just ask our students to be physicians, how many of you have used a mnemonic or an acronym when you've tried to just assimilate massive amounts of materials? Just raise your hand. Even one acronym, one mnemonic. You can see it's almost everybody. All right. So I'm going to leave them with one more mnemonic. So you're going to have to figure out what it is as I go through this, and I will be brief. First, the letter P, purpose. Let purpose and passion continue to drive you as you make decisions in the next phase of your journey, as you make choices even in your own career. And for example, you're going to see many patients, you're going to be tired at the end of the day. Don't ever forget, and always remember the purpose that drove you to come to this career and serve others. These patients need you, and reminding yourself of why you are here will energize you along the way. Next is the letter O, for others. Always connect with others, forming key relationships that help you in your most difficult times, trying times, decision-making, and so forth. It is a very useful practice to reach out on a regular basis as we work in medicine by thinking as a team, as you well know at this point, often with many disciplines, consulting a nurse, a pharmacist, a specialist in another area, a researcher, especially for tough decisions. The letter W for wisdom. Even though it is important to know the best treatments for any disease and consult others as needed, always value your own experiences or wisdom. That's what a professional does. It's often said that if you're on call in the hospital at night and a patient is having trouble and you get a call, it's best to go and see the patient, even for a few minutes. Within that few minutes, your experiences that you've had will inform you of your gut sense of the situation more than you realize as you grow as a professional. The letter E, evidence. Albert Einstein once stated, "Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop questioning." Some experts also, as the author Daniel Kahneman note, that our ability to think in either a fast intuitive mode or a slow analytical mode in making decisions. In fact, he highlights this in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, where we have our gut sense or our fast intuitive thinking, what experts and professionals like yourself will do, but then also the more analytical side that's important. And perhaps the best approach is to combine both, but paying attention to the evidence along the way, the E. Next is R for respect. Always treat everyone with respect, even if they have a different opinion than yours. Showing that level of respect will help you form relationships that'll be, to your surprise, important with many different people and many different disciplines along the way. Next is F for faith. Have faith. Faith in your education with confidence, even in challenging situations, that you are well prepared with both the knowledge you have and also, most importantly, the skill to continue to learn and know how to learn along the way. U, unshaken. I only have two more. Unshaken. Then you can figure it out. It's a test. In an essay or titled Equanimous by William Osler again, he describes the importance of equanimity to maintain calmness amid storm, coolness of mind under all circumstances, and clearness of judgment in moments of great peril or adversity. And you've dealt with a lot of adversity these couple of years, as we all know. As a physician, patients will rely on you to lead and guide them through difficult times, many times the most devastating times of their lives. Your ability to be most effective on their behalf will be best obtained through your ability to develop a confident, calm approach with clearness of mind for the sharpest and most critical of decisions. And finally, L, the last letter, for approaching your patients and everyone around you with love and kindness, as well as love for what you're doing. Having trust in and from your colleagues and a caring approach for your patients will be important to your success. When you think about true character, think and continually develop what is in your heart in terms of kindness, humility, and integrity that I know you all have, and not just actions. Always be also free to love what you're doing, as it is a great purpose, and it's a privilege to have what you have as a degree in medicine. So yes, the acronym POWERFUL, but the word powerful represents the power you have of your degree to do good for others, but also with great responsibility. So I hope these values will enrich all you do in decision-making, collaborations, and success, and most importantly, help keep that sense of purpose in all you do for your patients. As you move on to the next phase of your journey, keep the excitement of today moving forward with a powerful approach by making purpose and passion what drive you, what got you here. Because of the strength of an institution is definitely dependent upon its alumni, on all of you, knowing well the great responsibility you will take on and the impact you will have throughout your career. It is with great admiration and our privilege, all of us here, all of the faculty here as well, our privilege to welcome you to the medical profession and hope you will always stay connected to the University of Kentucky. Thank you, class of 2022, for all your hard work. Congratulations, you deserve it.
And next, I want to introduce Dr. Martin Newman. He's the Executive Vice President of Health Affairs over UK Healthcare. I just want to make a point, by the way. UK Healthcare is the primary health system where our Lexington students do their clinical rotations. But the relationships of UK Healthcare with our partners at the regional campuses, with MedCenter Health in Bowling Green, with St. Clair Regional in Moorhead, with St. Elizabeth's in Northern Kentucky, these make these campuses work. The intersection of College of Medicine and these health systems, we're a team, we work together, and I appreciate Dr. Newman's sharing some words on behalf of UK Healthcare.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dean Griffith, Provost DiPaolo, and I want to thank the faculty of the college as well for inviting me to share a little bit in this moment. I want to congratulate each and every one of you, both from myself and from UK Healthcare, for the things that you've done. I had prepared some remarks for today that talked about all the great things that had happened during the pandemic, during the time, all the scientific discoveries that have occurred when you were in school. But last weekend, I attended my godson's graduation at the University of North Carolina, and their speaker, Frank Bruni, a columnist from the New York Times, spoke, and he had a message that resonated with me, my background, and I think your experience over the last 4 years. And I wanted to take a few minutes to share the Newman version of that with you and with your family. And I say the Newman version because I'm going to give my father credit a little bit for some of the comments that I make as well. Early in life, not real early, not as young as some of these are today, but early in life, we often confuse aloofness with sophistication, cynicism with smarts. We fail sometimes, or at least I did, sometimes to realize or show adequate appreciation for how fortunate we were with the things that had come to us. I came along at each of the stages of my career. I thought I was really smart, and I thought I could, again, that if there was a pathway, I tended to sometimes look at the things or the paths I couldn't take versus those that I could. You are going to come to many, many important choices ahead of you in the next few years, professional and personal. Where to live, what jobs to take, whether to get married, who to, whether to have children, and how many. But I've come to recognize and realize that none of these choices have as much bearing on your decency as a human being, your happiness, your quality as a physician, your fundamental and enduring happiness as a choice that you will make monthly, daily, even hourly. And that's whether you are going to be somebody who counts their blessings or somebody who tallies their slights. Do you have humble stock of the good luck in your life, or do you take angry inventory of the bad? Do you savor your strengths, or do you stew about your weaknesses? None of the choices will impact your decency as a human being or true lasting happiness as much as a commitment to gratitude. Experience and science teach us that those who develop a habit of noting their good luck and their savoring their strengths are better able to navigate life's challenges and possibilities. That was coming from a higher place. On the other hand, if you harbor every slight and misfortune, muse on your mistakes and weaknesses, think about what is closed off to you rather than what is open, your introspection in that type of way will prove to be your biggest barrier to success, opportunity, and happiness. Because when you look around carefully, you will see, as long as your eyes aren't clouded by that tally of misfortune, that you're going to see that everyone has suffered some kind of great loss. or are in the middle of some kind of great hardship. The way that you think about life and your ability to be grateful and to recognize your good fortune and blessings will provide a kind of clarity that is priceless as you look to the future. Yes, your medical education was significantly interrupted by the global pandemic. Everything changed. Some of those changes were difficult to navigate. But guess what? In many ways, you get a better education because of it. You were forced to learn things about yourself, about your life, about that you otherwise would not have picked up. How much time or life experience would have been required for you to gain that same knowledge? Through the pandemic, we have learned that fate really does turn on a dime. Trouble comes when you least expect it, and despite all of that, we are survivors. We are succeeders, if that is a word. Now we know that there is more than one way to get the job done, and to our surprise, and to those many cases, we have proved that there may be a better way. We were challenged to get creative, and we did. The next steps are yours. You can choose to be disgruntled by what was lost, or you can choose to be empowered by a great experience. Through this experience, all of it good and bad, you are well prepared to meet the future. You have learned to adapt and adjust, critical skills for your future. Ahead, I hate to tell you this, but there lies more challenges. The next thing that we could never have expected or predicted is still out there. With the right attitude, know that medical school, a global pandemic, and your life experiences have prepared you to rise to these challenges and improve the health of those who need you most. I'm not recommending complacency. Rather, I'm recommending you be relentless at improving the quality of your practice and the care that you give to others, including rooting out disparities and in reducing them as a part of your career. Ask for the best from those around you. And we want you to know that choices that you make daily, even hourly, to focus on the positive and appreciate your good fortune in the long run make you a better physician, husband, wife, teacher, colleague, and human being. My dad always told me as I was growing up, it's not whether you fall, because you will, but it's how you stand up. He had a lot of different things that he would tell me that I didn't really appreciate or like at the time. Won't, never will. You know, again, the failure to finish comes from the failure to start. I didn't really understand or appreciate it at the time, but I miss it now because I lost my dad when I was 19. And I came to appreciate this message and his message even more. Congratulations to you and your families and members of the faculty who have poured so much into your time. Enjoy that day and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. So, I was reflecting on this class. It's the largest class we've had, as I said. It's our first class in Bowling Green. They come from so many different places. They had so many different journeys to get here. Some of them went straight from high school into medical school, into college and medical school. Some had other careers, but they all had one thing in common. You all had one thing in common. At some point in your life, you had this dream of being a doctor. And in less than an hour, that dream's going to come true. So I want to start with something a little bit different. I want to start talking about a movie that's about dreams. A movie called Field of Dreams. It's a movie from the late 80s. The people out there, your family, your friends, your loved ones, they all saw it. You all may not have seen it, but you weren't even born then, perhaps. But if you haven't seen it, stream it, rent it, buy it, whatever. It is worthwhile. It's a magical movie. It's about what makes life worthwhile. It is an amazing movie. And in The Field of Dreams, not to spoil the plot, but it's kind of quirky, and you may think, I don't want to rent this or see this, but it's magical, I promise. In The Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner plays this guy who's a farmer in Iowa. And he comes to hear voices, and the voices say, if you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come. And he's not exactly sure what that means, but he comes to believe that what he needs to build is a major league-sized baseball stadium in the middle of his cornfield in Iowa. So he plows down all of his corn, and he builds this stadium at great expense to his family, and his family thinks he's crazy, his neighbors think he's crazy, but he has to do this. He builds this baseball field in the middle of this cornfield in Iowa. And what's magical about that cornfield is this. Kevin Costner and his family, they can go out and they can watch on this cornfield, and out of the corn comes these baseball players. Baseball players from like 70 years ago, real baseball players, Hall of Fame baseball players from like 1910, 1915. And they're alive again, and they can play baseball again on this Field of Dreams. So Kevin Costner and his family watch the Field of Dreams, these baseball players reliving their glory days in the Field of Dreams, and they go back out in the cornfield. And at some point, Kevin Costner comes to realize that living people can go into the Field of Dreams. People that perhaps had played baseball before, or their dream was to play baseball, they can achieve that dream here in the Field of Dreams. Now, there's one catch. If you're a living person, once you cross that first baseline to go into the Field of Dreams, you're transformed into your younger self, and you can play. But once you come back out, you can never return to the Field of Dreams. So there's this doctor in this town. His name is Doc Graham. He's played by Burt Lancaster in all of his glory back then. And Doc Graham's been the family doctor for this community forever. He's been the doctor that's taken care of all this whole community, this whole family. He's raised the townspeople from their birth to when they die. He's a town doctor for decades and decades. He's an institution. And Doc Graham, though, did have this one dream he never had fulfilled. He always wanted to play Major League Baseball. And he almost had that dream at one point. He actually played minor league baseball when he was young. And at one point, he got called up to the major leagues for the last day of the season. Last day of the season, here was the last game. He actually got to go out and play. He got to play out in the outfield for an inning or so. But he never got to bat. At the bottom of the inning, 3 outs happened. He just didn't get to bat. And that was his dream, to always bat against a major league pitcher. But he never quite got to do that. Then at the end of that season, World War I happened. He had to go serve his country. And after World War I, he said, I can't, I should follow the calling of being a doctor, put away this baseball dream. And he did. And he was the town doctor for decades. But he always had that dream of batting against a major league pitcher. So what happens is Kevin Costner says, Doc Graham, you can play, you can achieve your dream. Let's go to the Field of Dreams. So he takes him out there, and Doc Graham, he walks across the first base line, and he's transformed into his younger self, baseball uniform. He's ready to play in the Field of Dreams. He starts playing, throwing, catching. And this is his dream coming true right in front of their eyes here. Kevin Costner and his family's watching this dream come true. And at some point, Doc Graham comes to bat, his younger self. He's about ready to bat against a major league pitcher. His dream is about to come true. And then Kevin Costner and his family are watching this. And Kevin Costner's little 8-year-old daughter all of a sudden falls back, starts seizing, starts turning blue. She is dying. Doc Graham stands there. No hesitation. Starts running. He gets to the first base line. He hesitates for a nanosecond, tosses his glove down, crosses the first base line, turns back into his older doctor, saves the child's life. She was choking on a hot dog. And Kevin Costner says, Doc, thank you so much for saving my daughter. But this is a tragedy. You were so close to achieving your dream in life. You were so close to batting against a major league pitcher. Doc, this is a tragedy. Doc Graham says, no, son. It'd have been a tragedy if I'd never been a doctor. Today, your dreams are coming true. Those dreams you've been following for years. And nothing can stop. No tragedies can stop you. We had a worldwide pandemic that couldn't stop this class from achieving their dreams right here, right now. thing I wanted to tell your family, friends, and loved ones, students to be doctors soon, is these students are already healers. They've been part of the healthcare teams in their clinical education, and the students bring such value to the care of the patient. They bring such value, and they've been healers, each and every one of them. And I wanted you all to be aware of that. Your sons and daughters have been healers already. They're not doctors yet, but they're healers. So I want to tell you a story, a personal story, of when a medical student was a healer for me and my family. So I'll never forget this. About 17 years ago, I was actually at the University of Pittsburgh doing a visiting professor sort of talk thing. My wife called me and she said, her daughter Laura, age 8, is having bloody diarrhea, blood clots. And your doctor mind starts kicking in, and you're thinking, well, most of these are infectious, as you all know. You've learned this. Most of them are self-limited infectious diseases. She's likely going to get better. You start thinking of the bad things. Is it some lifelong condition, inflammatory bowel disease, something like that? Is it worse? So I'm sitting there thinking, should I come home? Come home. I came home. By the time I came home, she was better. Thank goodness. The diarrhea had stopped. So we're out of the woods there. That Monday morning, as I was getting ready to go to work and my daughter was getting ready to go to school, she screamed. My wife went into the restroom, and the urine she just passed was dark brown. Students, you know the diagnosis. We taught you well. You know the pattern. Young child, bloody diarrhea, followed by brown urine. This is hemolytic uremic syndrome. So just to tell you what hemolytic uremic syndrome is, heme means your red blood cells. So what happens is, we all get infectious diarrhea from time to time. And for some reason, in some people, especially children, their body reacts to that infection and they start breaking down their own red blood cells. And that was what was happening to Laura. It's usually in response to like an E. coli infection or Shigella or something like that. She was starting to break down her red blood cells. When you break down the red blood cells, that releases bilirubin, and that's what stains the urine brown. This is hemolytic uremic syndrome. My wife's a doctor too, and we knew what this portended. So we went to the hospital. Dr. Stefan Kiesling was her attending. He was wonderful. The first blood draw happened. We waited for an hour, and it came back. Her creatinine was elevated. Creatinine is a blood test. If it's high, that means the kidneys are failing. Why are the kidneys failing? Well, the hemolytic part is breaking down the red cells. The uremic part is kidney failure. That breakdown products kind of gum up the kidneys, and you go into kidney failure. These are children going into kidney failure. Now, the treatment for hemolytic uremic syndrome is supportive. You all have learned that. Supportive means you try to support blood pressure, you try to support fluid balance. Children sometimes need dialysis even to get them through this time. Supportive also means there's no treatment. You either get better or you don't. Now, the good news is, especially children, looking at all her risk factors, and I read a lot about that day, I promise you, she had about a 90% chance of surviving. On her own, they get better. But the echo comes back, 10% die. And there's no treatment. So we get there, and the residents and students were a bit nervous. Can they be involved in the care of Dr. Griffith? I wasn't dean then, but I was a person that they knew. And so, but of course, I'd be a hypocrite if I said no. I truly believe in the value that students bring to the healthcare team. I wanted a student and a resident involved in this care for sure. They would learn a lot for one, but they provide care. And so I definitely wanted a medical student. And I knew that medical student would go the extra mile. The medical student's name was Danny Bramer. I've never forgotten him. And Danny was the student on the team. What I knew was Danny would spend time with Laura. All of you all have done that. You've gone after hours to spend time with patients and families and console them. You were the member of the healthcare team that they recognized. And so Danny came that way. I remember he would take her to Jared's Joy Cart to buy toys. She watched Miss Congeniality over and over again in her room. And Danny watched it with her, and I'm trying to be positive, but I'm thinking, is this the last time I watch a movie with my daughter? But Danny was wonderful. But I had an ulterior motive. I also knew that whenever blood tests were drawn, what happens is your blood's drawn every 4 or 6 hours or so, and then you wait. And you wait to see if the kidneys are continuing to fail. And you come back about an hour later, and you're hoping, and you're hoping, and you're wishing, and you're praying that it's better. And they come back, no, creatinine's higher, I'm sorry. 4 hours later, creatinine's higher, I'm sorry. And I knew Danny would be there to bring the results back. Right when they came back, I wouldn't have to wait. So I had an ulterior motive, and he was wonderful. And every time they would come back, creatinine's higher, I'm sorry. We found out later that a little girl admitted that day, the same as Laura, died of HUS as well. So, the hours went by, the days went by, and it was about midnight one day, and I was in my room with my daughter there, wide awake, and all of a sudden I heard a tap at the door. And it was Danny. I could see his silhouette of his head in the light of the room there. And he came in, didn't want to wake us up, and said, Dr. Griffith, great news. The creatinine has come down. I've never been happier in my life. So he didn't have to do that. The team would have come around in the morning and told me the creatinine was better. I would have found out in 6 hours. It wouldn't have changed anything, really. She was going to survive. But he went the extra mile for a patient and the families of a grieving father. And those 6 hours were precious to me and my daughter and my family. And I'll never forget it. He didn't have to be there. He wasn't on call. He stayed late because he knew maybe this was the blood test that was going to show she was going to survive. So I just want to share that story. All of you all of these students here to be doctors, they've all been healers. They've all done things like this. May not have been this dramatic, but they have. They've been at the bedside when patients and their families were grieving. They were sometimes the face that was continuous. The residents and the attendings change over sometimes, and they look and say, oh, there's you. There's the student I know. I feel better now. Thank you for being there. Sometimes you made suggestions for plans of care for diagnosis that made a difference in the care of patients. You've all been healers already. So I wanted you all to know that. They have been. Finally, I just wanted to say, to end here, you all are going to go off to residency. You're going to be physicians very, very soon here. And you want to be that kind and caring and healing physician that you all been trained to be and that you all want to be and that was in your dream to be. And I am confident that that's going to be the way you're going to go. But you have seen doctors and residents that are not the kind, caring, compassionate people that you hoped they would be. We all entered this profession of service to others. It's not about us. It's not about you even. It's about others and the patients you're serving. And that's what we want to carry in your hearts forever in your doctor lives. But what sometimes happens during residency, you're working so hard and you're so tired and you're so exhausted and you've delayed gratification for so long and you run up debt and you start thinking, I deserve this, I deserve that, me. When you start feeling that way, you're not the other-centered, service-oriented physician that you wanted to be, are you? So just a couple things to watch out for. One is, if you start thinking it's all about me, I've worked so hard, I work harder than anybody, I deserve everything that's coming to me, I deserve the money and the big car and the big house and the prestigious job, et cetera, et cetera. Remember, none of you did this alone. None of us did this alone. I see a whole auditorium of people that supported you all, for sure. One of the saints of the United States said it best, Mr. Rogers. He said, someone smiled you into smiling, someone loved you into loving, someone believed you into believing. And you had this belief in yourself, but you were buoyed by your family, your friends, your loved ones, many of them here today, your teachers, each other. So none of you did this alone. Don't forget that. We're all a team together, and we're buoyed and raised up together. The second thing that sometimes happens is you start feeling like I'm working harder than anybody else. I deserve everything that's coming to me. Me. And pause for a second when you start feeling that way. When you're in residency, you're coming in perhaps at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're thinking, I'm working harder than anybody. And you're working hard. They will work 80 hours a week a lot of times in residency. That's a long time to work. That is really hard. But look around when you walk in the door. You're going to see the custodians there just as early as you are, trying to make the hospitals as nice a place as possible for the patients. You're going to see the cafeteria workers there, trying to prepare meals, trying to make the nutritious meals for those who are hurting in the hospital. They're here as early as you are. And you may think, well, I'm working 80 hours, they're working 40. I promise you they're not. Many of them have 2 jobs, they're working 80 hours just as much as you are, and they'll never make the salaries you're going to make. So try not to ever draw into that trap of the me. It's all about we. It's all about us. It's all about others. That's why you went into this profession. That was your dream. And then finally, don't forget the great clinical teachers of your life. Don't forget the great clinical teachers of your life. And you may say, oh, I won't forget them. I'll remember Dr. Moorhead, Dr. Holine, Dr. Sawaya, Dr. Lee, all the great teachers in my life. And as talented as they are, they're not the great teachers of your life. Who did you learn what a heart murmur sounded like? Who did you learn what crackles and wheezes sounded like? Who did you learn how to truly listen as someone poured out their heart? It was the patients. The patients have been and always will be the great teachers of your life. And don't forget them. And you may say, how am I going to forget them? Well, think about what they did. They all invited you into their care, even though you weren't doctors. And to be honest, I was very worried with COVID. With all the concerns of COVID, with social distancing and minimizing contacts with people, would patients embrace having more people do a physical exam, more people doing the interview? I was worried about that. And my heart was warmed and overwhelmed with gratitude to patients that did that. They welcomed you in despite COVID. And why did they do that? Well, some have maybe a general sense that the care they get at these teaching hospitals is going to be excellent care, and a lot of it's the value you all bring. There's studies that show outcomes of care at teaching hospitals are better than non-teaching hospitals for similarly sick people, and I think part of it is the team care that you all bring. You all students and residents ask me questions all the time. Make me a better doctor all the time, I promise you. So maybe it's that. For some patients, it brought meaning to their illness. They think, well, I'm going to teach this student about my condition, so if another patient has it, they'll be able to diagnose it. Some of them were lonely. You spent the time with them. Some of them are a familiar face, but they welcomed you into their care. Now, many of these people are from in teaching hospitals. Teaching hospitals provide a lot of advanced specialty care. We provide care to all types of patients. But one thing that we are too is we're often a safety net hospital for the poor, for those that don't have insurance, for those who are underinsured, those that have this type of insurance that can't pay for as much as the better type of insurance. So what will happen is you graduate from residency, you'll start your practice, you delay gratification so long, you're going to think, me, I deserve the big car, I deserve the big house, I deserve the big practice, I deserve the big salary. And you've worked hard, sure. Me. And then you're going to say, if I take care of this patient that doesn't have insurance or underinsured, I can't make the salary I want to make. Let's just not see people with that. When you do that, you're abandoning the great clinical teachers of your life. They came from those insurances. All they said was, this is my body for you to learn on. Don't forget me. So sure, you have to pay attention to finances. You got to pay the bills. You can't just do all charity care. You won't be able to pay your overhead and bills. But can't you advocate for your patients, at least in some ways? If you're a proceduralist and doing 20 surgeries, for example, can't you do one of those 20 on patients with that types of insurance? If you're a primary care doctor like me and seeing 10 patients a day, can't you at least reserve one for those type of, like a patient tithe almost? Sure you can. Sure you can. So advocate with your health systems, advocate with your employers, advocate with your practice that you can't abandon the great teachers of your life. Don't do it. Okay? So anyway, those are my final words of wisdom, I guess. But today, as I see these amazing students who persevered despite COVID and the pandemic, and here they are today, I see them and I'm so proud of them. But you know what I see even more, what I'm celebrating now? I see that she's going to take care of 5,000 people. He's going to take care of 10,000, 5,000, 10,000, 5,000. It adds up to hundreds of thousands of people. There are hundreds of thousands of patients of lives who are going to be better because of these people on the stage right here, right now, forever. So that's what we're celebrating today. That's the reason we do this. But hey, it's your graduation day. We celebrate you too. Congratulations. Well, Now we'll proceed to the moment you've been waiting for, where your sons and daughters will be getting their diplomas and their hoods. I did want to recognize we have a lot of family members here that will be hooding their sons and daughters. We also have a lot of faculty here. The students can see those faculty. They were some of the great teachers of their life as well. Appreciate a lot of the faculty and chairs being here. So thank you very much for supporting these students here.
We'll begin with Enes Atusi from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Atusi will enter a translational year at the HCA Healthcare Blake Hospital, University of South Florida, Morzani College of Medicine in Bradenton, Florida. Madison Campbell from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Dr. Campbell will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine, Med Center Health in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Selena Charles from Bardstown, Kentucky. Dr. Charles will enter a research year. James Cloud from Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Cloud will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Legacy Emmanuel Good Samaritan Medical Center in Portland, Oregon. Emily Fryman Lowe from Mount Washington, Kentucky. Dr. Fryman Lowe will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Colorado School of Medicine, Denver, Colorado. Caitlin Galloway from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Galloway will enter an integrated adult and child psychiatry residency at the University of Kentucky Medical Center, Lexington, Kentucky. Luke Gaskin from Russell Springs, Kentucky. Dr. Gaskin will enter a residency in emergency medicine at Unity Health in Searcy, Arkansas. Mary Elizabeth Heslin from Mount Airy, Maryland. Dr. Heslin will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Joshua M. Karsner from Harrodsburg, Kentucky. Dr. Karsner will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center, Lexington, Kentucky. Zachary Lewis from Richmond, Kentucky. Dr. Lewis will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, South Carolina. Amanda Lee McGeorge from Tompkinsville, Kentucky. Dr. McGeorge will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Austin Messner from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Messner will enter a residency in psychiatry at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Devin W. Morrow from Monticello, Kentucky. Dr. Morrow will enter a residency in orthopedic surgery at the University of Arizona College of Medicine in Phoenix, Arizona. Shannon O'Hara from Cincinnati, Ohio. Dr. O'Hara will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the West Virginia University School of Medicine in Morgantown, West Virginia. Catherine Seatack Phelps from Somerset, Kentucky. Dr. Seatack Phelps will enter a residency in psychiatry at the Marshall University School of Medicine in Huntington, West Virginia. Dr. Seatack Phelps is being hooded by Dr. Michael Seatack. Carissa Schwartz from Brandenburg, Kentucky. Dr. Schwartz will enter a residency in general surgery at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine, Med Center Health in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dixie Sakula from Burkesville, Kentucky. Dr. Sakula will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine, Med Center Health at Bowling Green, Kentucky. Andrew Simpson from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Simpson will enter a transitional year at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine, Med Center Health in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Shelby Stringer Fain from Russell Springs, Kentucky. Dr. Stringer Fain will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center in Knoxville, Tennessee. Colton Tolles from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Tolles will enter a residency in family medicine at the Mount Carmel Health System in Columbus, Ohio. Morgan Christian Ubelacker from Port Charlotte, Florida. Dr. Ubelacker will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of South Florida Morzani College of Medicine in Tampa, Florida. Mallory Vaughn from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Vaughn will enter a research year at the Harrington Heart and Vascular Institute University Hospitals Health System in Cleveland, Ohio. Peyton John Vernon from Bardstown, Kentucky. Dr. Vernon will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, South Carolina. Rachel Whitaker from Fort Myers, Florida. Dr. Whitaker will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Chicago Medical Center in Chicago, Illinois. Robert Taylor Brooks from Bedford, Kentucky. Dr. Brooks will enter a residency in internal medicine primary care at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Taylor Chadwell from Corbin, Kentucky. Dr. Chadwell will enter a residency in pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Hannah Conley from Moorhead, Kentucky. Dr. Conley will enter a transitional year at the Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis, Indiana, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Amrita Iyengar from Maysville, Kentucky. Dr. Iyengar will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Iyengar is being hooded by Dr. Raghu Srinivasan. Anna Marie Knox from Waco, Kentucky. Dr. Knox will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the Good Samaritan Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio. Madison Miller from Mount Vernon, Kentucky. Dr. Miller will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Prisma Health University of South Carolina School of Medicine in Greenville, South Carolina. Catherine Eileen Stockham from Somerset, Kentucky. Dr. Stockham will enter a residency in internal medicine at TriStar Centennial Healthcare in Nashville, Tennessee. Catherine Wells from Paintsville, Kentucky. Dr. Wells will enter a residency in internal medicine primary care at The Ohio State University Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio. Michael Andrew Witt from Irvine, Kentucky. Dr. Witt will enter a residency in neurology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky.
Alicia Acuff from Paris, Kentucky. Dr. Acuff will enter a transitional year at the Mountain Area Health Education Center in Asheville, North Carolina, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Abdul Hakim Agil from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Agil will enter a residency in internal medicine primary care at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. Thomas Lee Amburn from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Amburn will enter a residency in general surgery at the NYU Grossman School of Medicine, Manhattan in New York, New York. Pavan Ashwini Anand from London, Kentucky. Dr. Anand will enter a research year. Michael Arnett. Michael Arnett from Murray, Kentucky. Dr. Arnett will enter a residency in psychiatry at TriStar Centennial Healthcare in Nashville, Tennessee. Caitlin Arno from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Arno will enter a residency in pediatrics at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. Dr. Arno is being hooded by Dr. Holly Vickers. Hira Arshad from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Arshad will enter a residency in internal medicine primary care at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Arshad is being hooded by Dr. Abrar Arshad. Sarah Ashley from Corbin, Kentucky. Dr. Ashley will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Duke University Medical Center in Durham, North Carolina. Wesley Averill from Paducah, Kentucky. Dr. Averill will enter a residency in family medicine at the Prisma Health University of South Carolina School of Medicine in Greenville, South Carolina. Dr. Averill is being hooded by Dr. Blake Averill. Millicent Babbs from Hodgenville, Kentucky. Dr. Babbs will enter a residency in family medicine at the University of Louisville School of Medicine, Owensboro Health in Owensboro, Kentucky. Vanessa Buzon from New Braunfels, Texas. Dr. Buzon will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Texas Health San Antonio Long School of Medicine in San Antonio, Texas. Dr. Buzon is being hooded by Dr. Fernando Buzon. Sarah Bean from Columbus, Indiana. Dr. Bean will enter a residency in obstetrics and gynecology at the University of Arkansas for Medical Science College of Medicine in Little Rock, Arkansas. Danny Belza from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Belza will enter a residency in internal medicine at the UMass Chan Medical School in Worcester, Massachusetts. Evan Birmingham from Edgewood, Kentucky. Dr. Birmingham will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Max Boyle from Crescent Springs, Kentucky. Dr. Boyle will enter a residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Lawrence R. Boutros from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Boutros will enter a residency in internal medicine primary care at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Boutros is being hooded by Dr. Rezkala Boutros. Brittany Bautista Karras from Stamford, Connecticut. Dr. Bautista Karras will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the University of Southern California Keck School of Medicine in Los Angeles, California. David Jordan Carter from Danville, Kentucky. Dr. Carter will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Gabrielle Shamley from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Dr. Shamley will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the Prisma Health University of South Carolina School of Medicine in Greenville, South Carolina. Reed Chavez from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Dr. Chavez will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Asir Chishti from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Chishti will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the University of Kentucky and Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Dr. Chishti is being hooded by Dr. Aftab Chishti. Christopher Coleman from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Coleman will enter a residency in psychiatry at the Ohio State University Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio. Travis Combs from Florence, Kentucky. Dr. Combs will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Caroline Elizabeth Conroy from New Albany, Indiana. Dr. Conroy will enter a residency in pediatrics at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, South Carolina. Riley Coots from Bardstown, Kentucky. Dr. Coots will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of South Alabama Hospitals in Mobile, Alabama. Dexter James Corlett from Vancouver, Washington. Dr. Corlett will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis, Indiana. Adrian Cornett from Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Dr. Cornett will enter a residency in pediatrics at the Case Western Reserve University Hospitals Cleveland Medical Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Griffin Cody from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Cody will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Peyton Couch from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Couch will enter a residency in family medicine at the Ohio Health Grant Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio. Rachel Cox from Independence, Kentucky. Dr. Cox will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Wright-Patterson Medical Center in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. Jonathan Token J. Davis from Monrovia, Liberia. Dr. Davis will enter a residency in general surgery at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical School in Dallas, Texas. Ashley Dawson from Murray, Kentucky. Dr. Dawson will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Florida College of Medicine, Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida. Felipe de la Barra from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. De La Barra will enter a residency in family medicine at the University of Louisville School of Medicine in Louisville, Kentucky. Jody Michelle Dijon from Versailles, Kentucky. Dr. Dijon will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Carolyn Del Chiaro from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Del Chiaro will enter a residency in family medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Emmanuel D.K. Udenzi. From Lagos, Nigeria. Dr. D.K. Udenzi will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Chicago Medical Center in Chicago, Illinois. Logan Disney from Gray, Kentucky. Dr. Disney will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Chandler Fain from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Fain will enter a transitional year at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine, MedCenter Health in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Brandon Farmer from Paris, Kentucky. Dr. Farmer will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, Tennessee. Charlotte Ann Fowler from Sarasota, Florida. Dr. Fowler will enter a residency in oral and maxillofacial surgery at the University of Kentucky College of Dentistry in Lexington, Kentucky. Michael Fritz from Edgewood, Kentucky. Dr. Fritz will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the Christ Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio, followed by a residency in dermatology at the Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis, Indiana. Dr. Fritz is being hooded by Dr. Peter Sawaya.
Reed Gilbert from Nicholasville, Kentucky. Dr. Gilbert will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Tennessee, Ascension St. Thomas in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Dr. Gilbert is being hooded by Dr. James Gilbert. Brooke Glahn from Burlington, Kentucky. Dr. Glahn will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Adam Goddard from Florence, Kentucky. Dr. Goddard will enter a residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Kaylee Gouge from Versailles, Kentucky. Dr. Gouge will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Gouge is being hooded by Dr. Lee Hicks. Vince Gouge from Frankfort, Kentucky. Dr. Gouge will enter a residency in pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Gouge is being hooded by Dr. Lee Hicks. Megan Haney from Rochester, New York. Dr. Haney will enter a residency in pediatrics at the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ryan Harpole from Clinton, Kentucky. Dr. Harpole will enter a residency in ophthalmology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Zain Hassan from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Hassan will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the University of Kansas School of Medicine in Kansas City, Kansas, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Hassan is being hooded by Dr. Zaki Hassan. Carolyn Marie Haw from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Haw will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis, Indiana. Dr. Haw is being hooded by Dr. Robert Metzger. Benjamin Headley from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Headley will enter a residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. John Tyler Henderson from Paint Lick, Kentucky. Dr. Henderson will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Blake Harold from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Harold will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of South Florida, Morsani College of Medicine in Tampa, Florida. E. John Marshall Herbst from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Herbst will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the Geisinger Health System in Danville, Pennsylvania. Megan Higgins from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Higgins will enter a residency in integrated adult and child psychiatry at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Laura Hornback from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Hornback will enter a residency in rural family medicine at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine in Moorhead, Kentucky. Amanda Ashley Hoskins from Georgetown, Kentucky. Dr. Hoskins will enter a residency in pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Jacob Christopher Hubbock from London, Kentucky. Dr. Hubbock will enter a residency in general surgery at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Hubbock is being hooded by Dr. Anthony Hubbock. Corey Hughes from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Hughes will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Jocelyn Isaac from High Hat, Kentucky. Dr. Isaac will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the University of Louisville School of Medicine in Louisville, Kentucky. Mariah Jackson Arnett from Williamsburg, Kentucky. Dr. Jackson Arnett will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the Northeast Georgia Medical Center in Gainesville, Georgia. Neelam Jarani from Richmond, Virginia. Dr. Jarani will enter a residency in family medicine at the Ohio Health Grant Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio. Bashal Johal from Charlotte, North Carolina. Dr. Johal will enter a residency in oral and maxillofacial surgery at the University of Kentucky College of Dentistry in Lexington, Kentucky. Victoria M. Jones from Raleigh, North Carolina. Dr. Jones will enter a residency in pathology at the Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Brenna Kellen from Crestwood, Kentucky. Dr. Kellen will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Mary Kruger from Versailles, Kentucky. Dr. Kruger will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the University of Michigan Hospitals in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Thomas Lawler from Union, Kentucky. Dr. Lawler will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Alexandria Lucas from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Lucas will enter a residency in internal medicine, primary care at the Prisma Health University of South Carolina School of Medicine in Columbia, South Carolina. Margaret Lund from Villa Hills, Kentucky. Dr. Lund will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Vanya Ma from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Ma will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. Maya McDonald from Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Dr. McDonald will enter a residency in general surgery at the University of North Carolina Hospitals in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Benton Maglinger from Owensboro, Kentucky. Dr. Maglinger will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts, followed by a residency in neurology at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts. Justin Magnuson from Owensboro, Kentucky. Dr. Magnuson will enter a preliminary surgery residency at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Chandler McGuett from Corbin, Kentucky. Dr. McGuett will enter a residency in family medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Samuel Markham from London, Kentucky. Dr. Markham will enter a transitional year at Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. Nicole Marie Martin from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Dr. Martin will enter a residency in pediatrics at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. Erica Masteroudis from Athens, Greece. Dr. Masteroudis will enter a residency in general surgery at the Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis, Indiana. Dr. Masteroudis is being hooded by Dr. Calvin Ward. Jane Franca Mbang Ako from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Mbang Ako will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami, Florida. Braxton McFarland from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. McFarland will enter a research year. Aiden Miller from Nashville, Tennessee. Dr. Miller will enter a transitional year at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine, Med Center Health in Bowling Green, Kentucky, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at Baptist Memorial Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. Priya Mohan from Knoxville, Tennessee. Dr. Mohan will enter a residency in pediatrics at the Case Western Reserve University, University Hospitals Cleveland Medical Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Dr. Mohan is being hooded by Dr. Mudhun Mohan. J.D. Morgan from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Morgan will enter a residency in family medicine at Self Regional Healthcare in Greenwood, South Carolina. Gabrielle Morgulin from Nicholasville, Kentucky. Dr. Magulin will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Meredith Murphy from Union, Kentucky. Dr. Murphy will enter a residency in orthopedic surgery at the University of Cincinnati in Cincinnati, Ohio. Brittany Musselwhite from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Dr. Musselwhite will enter a research year.
Tori Osborne from Virgie, Kentucky. Dr. Osborne will enter a residency in pediatrics, psychiatry, and child and adolescent psychiatry at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Patrick Osterhaus from Paducah, Kentucky. Dr. Osterhaus will enter a residency in psychiatry at the Mayo Clinic College of Medicine and Science in Rochester, Minnesota. Mason Paz from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Paz will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Oregon Health Science University in Portland, Oregon. Om Patel from Bardstown, Kentucky. Dr. Patel will enter a residency in general surgery at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Smruti Patel from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Patel will enter a residency in anesthesiology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Patel is being hooded by Dr. Pooja Patel. Blaine Garrett Patty from Franklin, Kentucky. Dr. Patty will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Rachel Shanae Porter from Pikeville, Kentucky. Dr. Potter will enter a residency in internal medicine primary care at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Potter is being hooded by Dr. Jeffrey Potter. Samuel Jefferson Potter from Pikesville, Kentucky. Dr. Potter graduated in May 2020 and entered residency in psychiatry at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Since the 2020 commencement ceremony was canceled due to the pandemic, he is walking in today's ceremony with his sister, Rachel, and is also being hooded by Dr. Jeffrey Potter. David Lewis Pottinger from Barnestown, Kentucky. Dr. Pottinger will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Alabama Medical Center in Birmingham, Alabama. Dr. Pottinger is being hooded by Dr. David Lewis. It was still picture perfect in the end. Anand Prabhu from Somerset, Kentucky. Dr. Prabhu will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Louisville College of Medicine in Chicago, Illinois. Catalina Roche from Winter Park, Florida. Dr. Roche will enter residency in pediatrics at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Roche is being hooded by Christian Roche. Madeline Riney from Paducah, Kentucky. Dr. Riney will enter a residency in psychiatry at the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Dr. Riney is being hooded by Dr. Jeffrey Riney. Marcus Rommelman from Paducah, Kentucky. Dr. Rommelman will enter a preliminary surgery residency at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Rommelman is being hooded by Dr. Monty Rommelman. Courtney Lane Rowland from West Liberty, Kentucky. Dr. Rowland will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Dr. Rowland is being hooded by Dr. Mark Vickers. Madeline Ryan from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Ryan will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, Oregon. Keegan Sammons from Owensville, Kentucky. Dr. Sammons will enter a residency in internal medicine pediatrics at the Medical College of Wisconsin affiliated hospitals in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Dr. Sammons is being hooded by Dr. Sid Pratt. Lindsay Shane from Barnestown, Kentucky. Dr. Shane will enter a residency in psychiatry at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai Beth Israel in New York, New York. Kabir Singh from Riverside, California. Dr. Singh will enter a residency in oral and maxillofacial surgery at the University of Kentucky College of Dentistry in Lexington, Kentucky. Austin Smith from LaGrange, Kentucky. Dr. Smith will enter residency in anesthesiology at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. Erin Nicole Snyder from Independence, Kentucky. Dr. Snyder will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the Naval Medical Center in San Diego, California. Margaret Kelly Spey from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Spey will enter a residency in obstetrics gynecology at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Jordan Stafford from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Stafford will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the University of Louisville School of Medicine in Louisville, Kentucky, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at the University of Louisville School of Medicine in Louisville, Kentucky. Blake Stevens from Florence, Kentucky. Dr. Stevens will enter a residency in general surgery at the Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Alexandra Sonnenberg from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Sonnenberg will enter a residency in pediatrics at the Medical College of Georgia in Augusta, Georgia. Cody Sutphin from Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Dr. Sutphin will enter a transitional year at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine Med Center Health in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Kayla Swiatek from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Swiatek will enter a preliminary internal medicine residency at the University of Florida College of Medicine Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida, followed by a residency in ophthalmology at the University of Florida College of Medicine Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida. Sarah E. Taylor from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Taylor will enter a residency in family medicine at the St. Elizabeth Medical Center in Edgewood, Kentucky. Alex Tabor from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Tabor will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Tabor is being hooded by Dr. Andre Tabor. Sarah Thomas from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Thomas will enter a residency in neurosurgery at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Thomas is being hooded by Dr. Lauren Thomas. Chase Thornton from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Thornton will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Wright State University Boonshoff School of Medicine in Dayton, Ohio. Alex Turner from Russell Springs, Kentucky. Dr. Turner will enter a residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation at the University of Kentucky Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Catherine Vickers from Henderson, Kentucky. Dr. Vickers will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Alabama Medical Center in Birmingham, Alabama. Dr. Vickers is being hooded by Dr. Holly Vickers. Casey Cottle Wampler from Vanceburg, Kentucky. Dr. Cottle Wampler will enter a residency in family medicine at the St. Elizabeth Healthcare in Edgewood, Kentucky. James Warwick from Modesto, California. Dr. Warwick will enter a residency in general surgery at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical School in Dallas, Texas. Dr. Warwick is being hooded by Dr. John Warwick. Madeline Welser from Florence, Kentucky. Dr. Welser will enter a preliminary surgery residency at Good Samaritan Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio. Laura Westneat from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Westneat will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of North Carolina Hospitals in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Kayla Rose Metzmeyer-White from Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. White will enter a residency in obstetrics and gynecology at Virtua Health in Mount Holly, New Jersey. Cordelia Witten from Danville, Kentucky. Dr. Witten will enter a residency in internal medicine at the University of Florida College of Medicine, Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida. Adam Woods from Cincinnati, Ohio. Dr. Woods will enter a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Texas Medical School in Houston, Texas. And Olivia Yessen from Lexington, Kentucky. Dr. Yessen will enter a residency in internal medicine at the Prisma Health University of South Carolina School of Medicine in Columbia, South Carolina.
Will the class of 2022 please rise and recite with us the oath to the profession? You'll find this in the last page of your program. At the time of being admitted as a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge myself to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will give to my teachers the respect and gratitude which is their due. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. The health of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the secrets which they are confided in me. I will maintain by all means in my power the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. My colleagues will be my family. I will not permit consideration of religion, nationality, race, party politics, or social standing to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life even under threat, I will not use my medical knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Congratulations.
New doctors, you may be seated. We believe if we take care of our students while they're here with us, we don't have to worry about our alumni. These students will all be University of Kentucky College of Medicine alumni. And at this time, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Debbie Sowell from the University of Kentucky Medical Alumni Association for a few words.
I will be brief, I promise. This is such a special day for you graduates. I remember my graduation 40 years ago. It was on a Sunday, so it was Mother's Day also. And I had my, at the time, 5-month-old baby in my arms. The absolute joy of being hooded by Dean Clausen still is, I just can't describe it. Your hard work and dedication, along with your family, friends, and your own personal village have led up to this moment. As certain people have stolen part of my speech already, you are a unique group, being the largest group ever coming through. But there's some very unusual things too, in that I have the unique pleasure this year of having been mentors to some of these students in their pre-med world. Then I interviewed them for med school, since I do interviews both in Bowling Green and up here at what we call Big UK. And then I taught them, sometimes in their preclinical, or I think unfortunately only one student, because it was during COVID and before I actually physically retired, clinical years. And now I get the honor of being here for their graduation. It's an added pleasure of having prior patients actually in this class. Yes, it makes me feel old, but it's true. You know, the UK Alumni Association now, we have 5,000 members already. So I just want to say welcome to your UK Medical Alumni Association. And as always, go Cats!
Thank you, Dr. Sowell, and thank you all, family, friends, loved ones, for joining us today. It was a wonderful day. I hope you truly enjoyed it. It was a magical day when these students' dreams became true, and they're now physicians this moment. So we will have the students proceed out first, and then the faculty and the hooders next there. And please join us out in the lobby there for pictures and receptions. And again, we appreciate y'all being here today. Thank you so much for coming, and we look forward to seeing you again.